proud to be Black. Stories about my history make me proud. Stories about my people make me even prouder. And it makes me proud to learn about my community and my culture too. I need the defender to tell me these stories.
This Houston Defender event is called the HBC President's Classic, and it's sponsored by Amegy Bank. Would you please give Amegy a round of applause, because this is a beautiful facility. Well, I want to thank all of you for registering. We actually had 450 people to register because we have had a tradition of, sometimes folks just can't make it through the traffic, or things happen. You know how that is. With that, I wanted you to know that with your registration, each one of you will receive a complimentary subscription to the Top 5 newsletter, which is the local, state, and national Black headlines that you will get Monday through Saturday. Now, we just wanted to start a new tradition in conjunction with the Labor Day Classic. How many of y'all going to the Labor Day Classic? Can I hear? Raise those pom-poms. I tell you what, let me see how many Purview folks in the house. Okay. Let me see how many TSU folks in the house. Just checking, okay? With that, we are creating this tradition of the HBCU President's Classic with the intent of giving the university presidents to celebrate them, give them an opportunity to talk about their accomplishments, their plans they have for the upcoming school year, and just kind of fellowship with us before they get into the real deep water, because school is now officially started. With that, I'm going to say that since Purview A&M University is the host university, I'm not going to play politics, y'all. They are the host, so they get to go first this year. Next year, it'll be Texas Southern's chance. In your seats, you have a card that allows you to be able to write your questions, and you have an Amegy pen that is complimentary. Please write any questions that you have that you would like for us to ask. But I got a feeling you're going to be asking a lot of the questions that we already have listed. Joining the Defender in bringing you the HBCU President's Classic is our partner, Amegy Bank. And I'm very proud of this person because we've served on a number of boards together. And he is none other, but before I introduce him, I'm getting ahead of myself. There is a video message I'd like for you to hear.
Hi, I'm Sharon Mayberry, President and CEO of Mayberry Homes Incorporated. We're a home building business. I like to say that we have been building for 27 years, not because we wanted to, but because there was a need to take and get affordable housing done. Houston is undergoing a revitalization. So this is a community that I'm really proud of, and I thought no other place would be better to do it right here where I was born and raised. If you're going to start, why not start right where you live, right in your backyard? We like to pride ourselves with attention to detail. We want you to be able to come into their home and say, man, this is fantastic, and not know that it was an affordable house. So today we have built over 450 houses, and Amegy Bank has been responsible for well over 300 houses. So we're very happy to say that they were a big part of that. The relationship with Amegy Bank actually started out 21 years ago, but started out with a very modest amount in terms of the loan. I like to think that that taught me a whole lot about how to take care of your business. So the first loan allowed us to take and go in and build 2 spec homes that we were pretty successful with, and we were able to take and move those 2 spec homes over to other deals that we've done. So when I give thought to the relationships that we've had and have Bank, I have to start with the most recent relationship, Mark McGee. Mark called me up 2 weeks ago and said, listen, I understand that you've done quite a bit with the bank over the number of years. Mark, I believe, is going to serve well with taking on the reins and moving us into the next dimension. So being able to have a banker that really understands your business model, they know what makes it work for you. They know exactly what it is that you do. We're here to do what's right. We're here to provide affordable housing. So we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to move into the inner city neighborhoods and do our part to make a difference. And along with Amgen Bank, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to take and do as much as we can. I like to believe because the Amgen Bank is a strong bank that in the next 5 to 10 years or beyond, they're going to still be around. And so will Mayberry Home. This is my family, this is my business, and this is my bank.
They walk the talk, they don't just talk the talk. And with that, I'd like to take this privilege to introduce Amgen Bank's Chief Executive Officer, Steve Stevens. Steve, come on up and talk about this terrific institution. Here you go, baby.
Well, first, thank you, Sonny, for being a great friend for many years. And also, we are very grateful to host this event, the second time that we've had a chance to do it. So it really is our honor. It's interesting that we saw the Sharon commercial because this is actually Black-Owned Business Month. And Sharon called me literally last night. As you could tell, he's a very colorful guy. And he said, Steve, all my friends are calling me about the commercial because it's running on the Texans preseason football. And so he goes, I feel like a star. But let me tell you what's really the best part about him and why the whole Black-Owned Business Month correlates to his story. Years ago, Sharon, he's an engineer. He gets his first bonus. He goes and buys a Mercedes. And he says, I'm going to drive through the third ward while I was raised up so all my girlfriends could see that I have a Mercedes. And so he's driving through town, and maybe a few girls see him, goes, wait a minute. There are 2 homes that I could have bought for the same price I paid for my Mercedes. So he took it back to the dealership and got his money and started his business. Is that awesome? Yeah. And so that's part of the fun that we have. Well, first of all, I want to say our interests are aligned with Prairie View and TSU because 75% of our business is this town. And we all know if Houston's going to go to the next level, we have got to educate diverse residents of Houston. And y'all are smack in the middle of that. So we're here for selfish reasons, I guess. But one other really quick thing I'll say, and I want the program to get started. Javon Sterling, raise your hand. Javon. So, you know, we've done a lot. We got a diverse loan program. I won't bore you with that detail. I'm going to tell you what is the result of it because a lot of banks haven't done it where you try to underwrite and somebody's got a low credit report or not enough equity. There's always a reason, it seems like, to turn down a loan. And so really the focus is how do you find a way to make a loan? So real story, Carol Guess of the Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, she's working with Chris Williams of Lucille's. And Chris has got an opportunity to buy his building. And his landlord said, I'm going to sell it. Well, he got mad because I don't know how the heck I can buy the building. And that's a first example of what needs to change, really equity accumulation. If you're a restaurant owner and you're leasing, you really can't create a lot of wealth. But if you own that real estate and it appreciates, you're right there with everybody else. Well, he had the chance to buy the real estate. Several banks said, this won't work. And I guess he went to Carol. I don't know the whole story, but Carol said, I've got a bank that can help you, that can basically drill a little deeper. And went to Javon, and Javon, you found a way to make it work. There's actually an article in the Chronicle that came out about, you know, the extra. And so that's just one real simple example of how you change people's lives. You find a way to make it work. It's not always easy. So we're really thankful to be able to do that. It's hard work. We could probably go on and tell you other stories, but we've got kind of more important people to hear speak. And I'm so proud of Dr. Simmons. We are together on the GHP Racial Equity Committee, a lot of work to do. And I remember the first meeting we had, Dr. Simmons, you said, you're all on this committee, but here's what each of you got to ask yourself. Is it in your heart? It can be in your brain, but if it's not in your heart, you're not going to really make a lot of progress. And so anyway, so I know that's very true. And so, Dr. Young, I'm really glad that you're here. and get the chance to know you. We've hired a lot of TSU graduates as well as Prairie View. We'll do more of it. So thank you very much.
More Prairie View graduates.
How about 50-50? Okay.
That was real diplomatic, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, great answer.
Okay, thank you.
Steve is doing some wonderful work with his colleagues. With all the people from Amegy Bank in the room, please stand up. Thank you. We want to acknowledge them. How was the food? I thought so. Yeah, I thought it was good too. But thank you, Steve, for supporting this project. I know that we started it in 2018, and then COVID hit, and it knocked us all off base, and now we're getting back in the saddle again. With that, tonight I am passing the baton. This gray hair, this means wisdom, y'all, which means I know how to pass the baton. With that, joining the Defender in 2021, in June, we hired an education reporter from Report for America. She was a corps member. She's a former resident of Boston, Massachusetts. She works for the Boston Herald. She's of Nigerian descent, and she wears several hats at the Defender as our education reporter and as our publisher of the Under 40 channel. So check her out as far as the Under 40 channel, and please help me welcome to the stage the Defender education reporter, affectionately known as Laura O. Laura? You can go ahead on.
Let me walk on up. How's everyone doing this evening? I'm so excited to be amongst each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for coming to the program. Please give a round of applause to yourselves. That's right. Miss Sunny said it all. I've been in Texas for a little over a year now, and it has been an amazing experience, to say the least. Texas feels like a second home to me, and I escaped the blizzard, so I'm glad to be amongst y'all in the beautiful, beautiful sun. So being here, I've learned a lot about the Texas education system. Just being able to cover it from the Black perspective, I've been able to cover a lot of things, especially the teacher shortages. I've covered teacher burnout. I've covered the digital divide. I've covered critical race theory and the banning of books in schools, and the impacts of COVID-19. And of course, as far as higher ed, where I focus on student loans. Oh, that's a popular topic here. Yep, and the decline of college enrollment, and of course, the rise in college education costs. So these are just a little bit of the things I've been able to cover in the short time I've been here, and it's just a pleasure to be able to continue to work with the Defender. And of course, tonight, it's also an honor that I can be able to speak one-on-one with the Black women at the helm of Prairie View A&M University and Texas Southern University. Yep, yep. That's right. So now I would like to give a snapshot of what is happening at PV's campus. So if you all can be attentive and check out this video that the Prairie View team put together for your viewing.
Excellence. It's a word that's synonymous with Prairie View A&M University. Throughout the institution's illustrious 146-year legacy, innumerable examples of excellence have walked our hallowed halls. Established in 1876 as a land-grant institution, PVAMU is the second oldest public university in Texas. Here, we have built an unparalleled reputation for empowering scholars to carry our rich legacy of distinction with them into the world as they blaze trails and make a real difference. It's not just about obtaining a high-caliber education, but also embracing the rich history and tradition of excellence that lives here. So, what does it look like to reach heights that transform lives into unimaginable possibilities? It looks like creating rigorous academic programs that prepare scholars to challenge the status quo and recruiting high-quality faculty, continuously enrolling over 9,000 students to the Hill, substantially growing our endowment to over $151 million. It looks like forming partnerships with peer institutions and industry leaders that expand the opportunities available to our students that extend beyond classrooms. Here, excellence is achieving the prestigious Carnegie R2 classification and being among the nearly dozen HBCUs that possess this status. Prairie View A&M cultivates a culture of innovation and research with 16 emerging startups, 45 intellectual properties, and more than 70 sponsored undergraduate research student projects. The university is home to a number of renowned scholarly and research centers and institutes that are pushing the boundaries of knowledge across broad academic disciplines. Here, excellence extends far beyond the 1,440 acres we call home. Here, our network of support is unmatched. We stand together, 80,000 and counting, proud and productive graduates, transforming communities while creating a legacy for future generations. Honoring the legends who surround us and giving back to the community. It looks like charting a path to success and leaving a blueprint for those who are eager to follow. Here, there is a voice that shines out of the darkness, posing new ideas of thought and movement. Its rumbling sounds from afar, a storm of organized instrumentation that continues to be at the forefront of talent. It's designing and laying the infrastructure for sustainable communities that improve the quality of life for generations of Texans. It's developing the next wave of business leaders in the industry who shift the economy into focus and define new rules for creating a successful workplace culture. It's about celebrating a century's worth of professional nurses who have impacted an ever-changing healthcare industry. It's about conquering relevant issues that focus on criminal justice and youth mental health. It's preparing culturally relevant educators who are committed to improving outcomes in school communities that are historically underserved. Here, being at the pinnacle looks like determination, hard work, and relentlessness. It means having the heart of a champion. PVAMU is a charter member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference and competes in the Western Division. All 18 sports participate in NCAA Division I, and Panther football competes in Division I FCS. It takes an uncanny focus to pursue excellence. Changemakers are bred here. Pioneers emerge here. Excellence lives here. This is Prairie View A&M University.
Show your school support and join me in welcoming to the stage the 8th president of Prairie View A&M University, Dr. Ruth J. Simmons. Yes, that's right. You're gonna walk on up, I love it.
I didn't know, will I be able to see the next film if I come?
It's the energy for me.
Good.
It is the energy for me. Thank you. All right. My next guest represents an institution nestled in the core of our city. This is the bright and shining star called Texas Southern University. Yes, that's right. Yes, clap for it. That's right. Here is a video that the TSU team produced to give you a glimpse of what's going on in Tigerland.
Our mission at Texas Southern University is to transform lives. I'm excited all of the students are on a path to transforming their life, having an educational experience second to none, because we're an outstanding institution, and we're going to prepare them so that they can pursue the career of their dreams. Well, at TSU, we're focused on innovation because it speaks to the importance of creativity. But creativity in action for us is what it means. Transformation is to make that shift, make the change that produces a significant impact and a lasting impression. And then disruption. We're brave enough to look at what we do and analyze it and make decisions as to how we should change what we do. Well, one of the things that's most important to me as the president is to make sure that we enhance the community that we're a part of. And so when we can produce research that helps to solve problems associated with health disparities, transportation issues, urban growth and development, how we can actually improve social mobility. Those are important concepts that are going to benefit the community tremendously. We are building new residence halls, and we're excited about that, new living, learning communities for our students. And we're also excited about our new facilities in athletics. We have an outstanding athletics department. We have an outstanding faculty. They're very committed to student success. And this past year, the faculty members came together and we made history again. Texas Southern received approval for the first and only College of Transdisciplinary Studies in the state of Texas, and one of the few in the nation. And they are very innovative and creative. We wouldn't accomplish as much as we do without committed, hardworking staff members. They are committed to ensuring that the university is successful, but they're also committed to ensuring that the students are successful. Our alums are absolutely committed to the university. They love Tiger Nation. That's why I call it Tiger Nation now. It's no longer Tiger Land, because our alums are everywhere. They're making significant contributions in this country. You've heard me say, I don't think a presidency is a career move. I think it's a calling. And when you've been called to serve and you see individuals show up and you know that your destiny is being fulfilled.
Tiger Nation!
I'm Dr. Alicia Crumpton-Young, the 13th president of Texas Southern University, and I am TSU proud.
TSU transforming lives!
Show your school spirit in joining me in welcoming the phenomenal 13th president of Texas Southern University, Dr. Alicia L. Crumpton-Young. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Simmons, for being so kind to me.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Madam President, for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure and an honor to speak with you. So before we get started, I would have each of you give a 1-minute opening statement to our wonderful audience, and then we'll begin our program. And I will start with you, Dr. Young.
Well, let me say in my 1-minute opening statement how happy I am to see members of Tiger Nation. Please stand and be recognized. Dr. Simmons, these individuals constitute the absolute core of excellence that Texas Southern University is committed to producing. And we know our mission is extremely important on our campus, and it can be summarized in 2 words. At Texas Southern University, we are committed to transforming lives. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Do we need this since we have a lavalier? Oh, no. We need both. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say again. Hello?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
wonderful.
Sorry. I want to say again how grateful I am to Amegy Bank for welcoming us again. I said the last time I was here that, you know, we deal with corporations all the time. I recall vividly the interest that the CEO of this institution took in this event, and the fact that people from the bank came to attend. And I just want to say again, Steve, how much I admire your work and your insistence on the importance of diversity in everything that we do. So thank you for having us, and thank you most of all for what you're doing. I want to...
That's 1 minute.
Oh, is that 1 minute? It doesn't matter. I'm going to take the rest of my time. So I also just want to very, very briefly acknowledge the faithful members of the Prairie View A&M community. Our institution is so proud of its history. As you know, the second oldest, truly the oldest institution of higher education in the state of Texas. And the way in which we have persisted over time to serve the state of Texas and the nation is truly exemplary. We're very proud of that, and I thank you all for coming tonight.
Wonderful. So before we begin, everyone, just like Ms. Sunny had, I'm going to reiterate what Ms. Sunny had said before. You all have cue cards on each of your chairs. If you all have additional questions to ask our presidents, please fill them out. And we have a lot of ground that we're going to be covering today, so I'm sure we'll ask some of the questions that you all will be asking. And we're going to make sure I kindly ask our Madam Presidents to be as detailed and succinct as possible in the short time that we have. And I know you all are up for the challenge.
That would be her.
That's right. So, my first question to you all. Looking at the two videos, I said to myself, I said, man, I wish I went to an HBCU, child. Boy. And we know I went to a PWI, so it is well. In spirit, I did. But now, school is back in session, and summer came and summer went. So I know a whole lot of kids, or a whole lot of students, excuse me, are pretty excited to get back on school grounds and see each other. But from both of you guys, what are your biggest plans for the upcoming school year? And I will start with Madam Young. I was going to call Madam TSU.
You feel free to call me Madam TSU. Feel free to call me that. I actually like that. Sounds excellent.
Yes.
As we think about this upcoming year, our team has been focused on innovation, transformation, and disruption. And what we're looking forward to this year is the plan to allow students to register and become part of our team in our new College of Transdisciplinary Studies. And let me say why that's so important to us. Certainly our history book is entitled Born to Serve. And we understand as an institution, we need to be responsive to the needs of individuals who haven't always been served in higher education. So our new College of Transdisciplinary Studies has 12 new degree options, 8 undergraduate degree programs, 4 master's degree programs, and we will enhance that by adding doctoral programs as well. But what's unique about our College of Transdisciplinary Studies is it is focused on serving individuals who have some college credit, relevant work experience, but they didn't have an opportunity to complete their degree. How many of you know someone who has some college credit? They're very hard-working individuals, but they didn't have an opportunity to complete their degree because of life situations and circumstances. That's why we created the first College of Transdisciplinary Studies in the state of Texas. We are looking forward to responding to the needs of those students. And the need is great. The Lumina Foundation says there are 35 million Americans. Data in Texas says that there are 5 million. We had one press release, and we've received over 1,200 inquiries in 2 to 3 weeks. So we know that's a population of individuals that need to be served. So we are looking forward to making sure through our College of Transdisciplinary Studies, we continue our legacy of being born to serve.
Outstanding. At the heart of what we are doing at Prairie View is really trying to make our university stronger in every sense. And that means we focus on the quality of our programs, on the excellence of our faculty, on the opportunities afforded our students. I had an email this morning from a young man who graduated recently who talked about the experience that he had at Prairie View in a way that made me infinitely proud of what we're doing for our students. And that is, Steve and I were talking earlier about the fact when I was 17 years old, I set off on a bus. I had barely been outside of Texas, but I went to Mexico to try to learn about a different culture. What we're trying to do for our students is afford them an array of opportunities that they have not been afforded. And I can tell you, coming from other universities, that they have not had access to the same kinds of opportunities that are typical of college students across the country. They deserve to have exactly the same opportunities, and we're working hard to give them that. And I'm very happy to say we have developed numerous partnerships with institutions and corporations to give them additional work experience. We have developed a program to encourage students to go abroad. We offer passports to our students on Passport Day to encourage them to think about looking beyond their immediate circumstances. We are working with major universities about opportunities for collaborations on research, and particularly offering our students opportunities for research experiences in their institutions. We have to be a part of this higher education community around the world. People should not put an asterisk next to HBCUs and say, oh yes, well, that's for those people. We are in this community. We are worthy of having access to everything that a typical student in a college would have access to, and we're going after that in every conceivable way. I have the pleasure of seeing our former provost at Prairie View, Joanna Thomas Smith, who is leading our new Toni Morrison writing program. You know, for a long time, people wanted to see HBCUs as training sites in very specific areas, but not, after all, you know, blacks really didn't have to have that broad liberal education. That was really for other kinds of people, right? And so we're claiming our right to study the arts, to study literature, to develop writers who can excel like Toni Morrison. So we are claiming our rights to have a broad array of access to everything that students normally have access to in this country. That's what we're about.
Excellent. I have a fun fact, right? I know that I went to PWI, but my mother went to TSU, and she is the graduating class of 1986. She, yes,
Fantastic.
Yes, Mom.
Tiger Nation.
And she studied telecommunication and minored in journalism. Full circle.
Yes.
Yeah. So, alumni. I had to ask her. I said, "You are an alumni of an HBCU. You know what's going on since then? Have you had connection? Are you taking part in what's going on at the HBCU?" She said she hasn't been in connection with the school in such a long time, even though she had such a wonderful experience there. So my next question to you is, alumni are the life of any college and university. And according to Forbes, the average rate of alum donations at HBCUs is nearly 10%, and the pace has remained consistent over the last few decades. How is your institution successfully engaging in alum community? So of course, I will start off with you, Dr. Young, and then from there we can go on, Dr. Simmons.
Well, let me tell you, I am looking forward to meeting your mother.
She can't wait.
I am looking forward to it. We have been fortunate,
yes,
because our alums have been very supportive of the institution. So we've been fortunate, and many of them are here. This past year, we had a record increase in alumni giving, alumni support, and alumni engagement. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. Our president of our National Alumni Association, I call her President Williams, is also here with us today. And she and the members of the Alumni Association have been true pioneers for ensuring that we keep our alums engaged and focused on what we need to do to advance the institution. I don't think she'll mind me saying this. Recently, we are of course inspired by Martin Luther King, many of us are, and he talked about keeping your eyes on the prize. What we've developed on our campus is the saying to keep your eyes on the paw. And so if you look at that, we raise our hands, we make a tiger paw. And so the alums have agreed to keep their eyes on the paw. What that means for us is they're going to work on enhancing internships. They're going to work on enhancing scholarships. They're going to work on enhancing mentorships. And they're going to work on enhancing recruitment. So those are the things we've committed to, and we're keeping our eyes on the paw. And so I'm very grateful to the alums for what they've done for Texas Southern University. And we've also decided, because they're so active, they're so large, they're so engaged, and because they're making a contribution throughout our city, our state, and our nation, we decided this year that we're no longer Tiger Land, we are Tiger Nation. So thank you, alums.
Wonderful. Dr. Simmons.
Would you like the paw?
Yeah, how do you?
Please get a picture of us, my team. Let's have a picture.
It's the unity. It's the unity. That's what we're here for. Love it.
You know, I was very taken with the story that Steve told about the gentleman who went out and bought a Mercedes and realized that that was not going to help him acquire wealth, that he took it back and invested the money instead in his business. I am very tough on our alums. And so the first thing that I say to them when I hear that somebody has been alum, I would have said, with regard to your mother, has she been giving money to TSU?
Well, she's going to watch this later, so
okay. Well, that's the first thing to ask. So we have to be very demanding of the people who came through our institutions and benefited from them, and challenge them to do what is necessary to keep our institutions growing, to keep them strong. Now, I sometimes do it in very, you won't be surprised by this, in very crude ways. So I'll give you some examples.
I understand.
I was at an alumni event, and I noticed that there was an S550 parked outside. And I don't know if you all know what that is, but it's an expensive Mercedes car. And so when I see that, I say to people, the only way you should be parking that car outside of this event is that if you have made a consistently major gift to Prairie View, okay? And I say to women who have red souls,
I don't have one, but I like them.
I say to women who love to spend money on expensive clothes and jewelry and shoes, that's good and well, but before you buy those Louboutin shoes, and that is the correct pronunciation, they don't even know how to pronounce it. So until they buy, before they buy those Louboutin shoes, they better be spending money to Prairie View to help support these young people who are coming along with very great need. So what we are developing, we created an alumni affairs operation to give more attention to our alumni. But we are also trying very assiduously to educate them to how important it is to invest in the future. not to put everything into what we are wearing and to fancy ephemeral things, but to put money into the next generation, so that we can be sure that. So what I have, what I you know, people. I've always been this way. It's not just with Prairie View, but people do occasionally ask to please, if somebody has to come ask them for money, not to have me come. And to me, that is a great honor. Because when I come, I'm coming to speak the truth. And that is give. Give seriously, give with commitment. I'll be talking to all of you after this.
You heard that. Speaking of money, all right, HBCUs have been underfunded and over-scrutinized, yet since the rise of the Black Lives Matter, many Black institutions are experiencing a renaissance in corporate and philanthropic funding. Tell us about your funding and how you're planning to utilize it. Dr. Simmons, we'll start with you.
Well, it is wonderful. I must say, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think that this is the moment for HBCUs. For all of my career,
We agree.
I have not seen this kind of efflorescence with regard to HBCUs. And because it is the moment for HBCUs, we have to really make good on it. And so HBCUs have been so accustomed to receiving less that we have fallen into an acceptance of it.
Yes.
I have been advocating that we must cease the subservience that we have displayed for so long in regard to attracting funding. So when I'm meeting with corporations today and they offer token support, I tell them no, that if they can't be serious, then we don't need the token amount that they're willing to give. So part of the reason that partnerships are getting better is not just because the climate, but because our dignity is rising. And we are saying we deserve, we are prepared to assert, and even in some instances demand the respect that our institutions are due. And I'm incredibly excited about this period because I love it when CEOs don't want to see me coming. I love it when people say, okay, we'll send somebody else because we really, you know, I know you're busy, don't come. Because I hope you're doing the same thing, because we have got to stop this. I mean, we were having a meeting, I don't know if you, I think this is before you started, with a very famous CEO. I'm not trying to scare you, Steve, okay? But we were having a meeting with a very famous, one of the very glamorous CEOs, and they were talking in a lovely way to several HBCU presidents about how wonderful it was, what they were going to do. And I just, at a certain point, I couldn't take it anymore. So I just said, okay. And I just said, without consulting the fellow presidents with me, I said, we're going to call this meeting to an end because it's clear that you don't understand what needs to be done. We know that if other institutions, presidents were sitting here, you'd be having something else on the table. So we're going to leave this meeting now until you can think about what is appropriate to do for us. And they came back with a $50 million gift for the institutions instead of the minor amount that they were talking about. If we don't believe in ourselves, why should anybody believe in us?
Yes.
Dr. Young.
Well, let me start by saying I totally agree with Dr. Simmons. We absolutely have to raise our expectations. And when I was at the National Science Foundation, I used to say to my HBCUs, you don't have to be on sale.
Yeah.
We don't have to be on sale.
don't have to be on.
We would
That's
write proposals and we would ask for less money.
Yeah.
And it is something that we have to change about our culture. Had a conversation with my cabinet as well today about that very topic. We have to have higher expectations. And we have to expect to receive the same types of funding that other institutions receive. And so we also need to make sure we have the advocacy that other institutions enjoy. I had a meeting today with a very well-known firm in Houston and one of the CEOs, and I said, you know that we have been historically underfunded. We're a state institution. We need the same advocacy that my wonderful alma mater enjoys. And he said, you're right. You haven't asked the business community for advocacy. So we're asking them for advocacy. This year, thanks to Dr. Simmons, who has been my coach, we are asking in our legislative request for over $900 million.
Come on now.
That's good.
Because we clearly have been that institution that's produced outstanding results. We are an excellent return on investment, and we are contributing to the state's mission of creating a talent-strong Texas. So we deserve to be funded like all of the other institutions. So I 100% agree. And let's all, Steve, I'm not putting you on the, she's putting you on, but I want to make sure that our business community is advocating to our state legislators for us to receive the funding we deserve for the work that we do. I know you asked him. You asked Steve for $50 million. I just asked.
No, I didn't.
Speaking on return on investment, I want to talk about good things.
Yeah.
All right. PV, AMU, and Texas Southern University are among the 11 HBCUs awarded the coveted R2 status in the new Carnegie classification update.
Yes.
Talk about what's happening in research on campus and what impact it has on students and the institutions in general. And I will start with you, Dr. Young.
Well, I will tell you, I'm extremely excited about having that coveted status, and many of us are working collectively so that we can no longer say that we don't have an HBCU that has R1 status. That's something that we need in this nation. So, and we need an advocacy group to ensure that we receive the funding we need to stimulate our research in this state as well. I will tell you that we aren't interested in reaching R1 status just for the prize, although I'm extremely competitive. It's because of the quality of research that we do on our campuses. For many years, higher education has responded to what I call the rural research agenda for rural America. But there has not been a research agenda for urban America. And so we are creating the first research center focused on urban transformation on our campus, and it's called The Catalyst. And so we're excited. We will be doing research on health disparities. We'll do research on transportation disparities, housing disparities, and other educational disparities and other areas related to issues plaguing our community. And the plan is for us to conduct research that responds to solving the grand challenges confronting our communities. So that's what we're excited about. So remember, the catalyst.
The catalyst. All right, you heard that. Dr. Simmons.
We have a wide variety of research underway on the campus and all the way from engineering to arts and sciences. So I'm not going to cite specifically any one of them. I will say that one of the things that we're trying to do is keep our eyes focused on not categorizing ourselves so much as focusing on the quality of the work that we do, because that really is the key. It isn't whether or not you have a shiny bauble to hold up to people. It's whether or not the work that you do has merit, and whether or not it is solving those problems that are so desperately in need of solutions, and whether or not you're making significant contributions to the advancement of knowledge. That's the thing about research universities. Colleges teach and prepare students to be well-rounded citizens. Research universities do something different. They are called on to create new knowledge. And that new knowledge, as you must know, is responsible for the cures that we have. We have so many people in our families who suffer from illnesses, and we've been waiting for often for many decades, in some cases centuries, for solutions to some of the persistent disease. That's what we're doing. We're getting our arms around those issues and trying to solve them. But you can't do that if you don't have the capacity through the researcher's knowledge and through the tools you need and through the facilities that you need in order to do that. So I think we're all working on trying to bring all of that together, better facilities. So I applaud your trying to get additional resources from the legislature for that. We have to be able to recruit top faculty who are innovative and who can help to solve some of these issues. And there are little gems that come along, and of course we cite these. We have, for example, one of our research centers has working with other institutions like MIT, and our team created an algorithm that MIT is using. Yes. These are the kinds of, and that's the way research is. It doesn't have partitions. If you're doing something in a field that's promising, what you want is other researchers from other institutions to be involved in that, because the more you do that involvement, the quicker you will get to a solution. Absolutely. And so anyway, that's the way I sort of think about it.
Thank you. We have a couple of questions from the audience. We have one in regards to teacher shortages. So we have, if I can read, it says, with the current teacher shortage and teachers leaving the profession by choice, how will the universities address, encourage, or change its approach to gain students to enter the profession? And so I will start off with Dr. Young.
Well, I will say to you that we have a strong College of Education, and historically we've graduated a number of students that have entered that profession and served the public education system well. I will tell you that we've had some conversations recently about the challenges that many of the teachers are facing in the classrooms, hence contributing, I think, to this brain drain that's happening. And one of the things that we were having conversations about is how to be strategic and intentional. How do we prepare those future teachers for the challenges that they're going to embark upon? And how do we equip them so that they're prepared to continue to do well? But then also, how do we look at our school system and begin to make changes in the environment that are more supportive of helping our teachers through the challenges? So we've had some conversations recently with a few of the school districts about putting partnerships in place to actually grow the leadership within the school districts. Because the leadership needs to be more informed so that they're equipped It needs to we need to have broader representation among the leadership so that they then can help the teachers to be more successful and put in place strategies that are more responsive to the challenges that those students and teachers are facing. So for us, and I know Prairie View does this as well because I've spent many years with their College of Education doing summer workshops. I think it's important for us to look at partnerships, which we are putting in place with the school districts, to prepare their leadership team to do assessments and evaluations on the environment so we understand the challenges and then we can be strategic and intentional about developing future teachers who can navigate those challenges successfully and persist in the school districts without having the brain drain that we're experiencing.
Thank you. Dr. Simmons.
No matter how effective we are in educating students to be teachers, until the public and policymakers understand the value of teaching and how to support teachers, we won't ever be able to succeed. The problem is, I was thinking about this today because I was writing, I was editing a piece that I wrote about my teachers, and I was thinking about the phenomenal way in which I and so many others like me were helped by teachers who went far beyond what was required of them to show us a way to the future. Mm-hmm. And what people don't understand is that for many neighborhood children, the only thing between them and a future is a teacher. A teacher who cares about them, a teacher who teaches them, a teacher who gives them hope when they don't have it in good supply. That is our one protection in this society, because there is no other place for children to go to get that. There simply isn't. So I think part of the problem is definitely universities. We have created an environment in which we have accorded status to ourselves because we have high degrees, and because we call ourselves professors, and because we are hoity-toity, and we have pushed down the value of the work of people who are in the classroom dealing with young people who are desperate to get ahead in this world. And so I've advocated often that universities ought to cut it out. When I started at Prairie View, I decided I would call nobody doctor. And they filed so many complaints against me. They did. That's not a joke. They did. They spent a lot of time filing complaints against me with the Texas A&M University system because I would not call people doctor. And so I came back and I say, I know a lot of you are very concerned because I won't call you doctor and because I won't permit you to call me doctor. But keep filing those because I'm never going to start calling you doctor. And so I haven't. And one of the reasons that I haven't is I think creating these invidious distinctions pushes down and diminishes the respect that people have for individuals who are working hard in the classroom, on the front lines, trying to do their best in a very challenging environment. So I'm very worried about that. And I think one of the things that we can do is bring more support from universities into these schools. I had the pleasure of going last Wednesday, maybe, to Phyllis Wheatley High School, where I was a student. And Phyllis Wheatley has been an underperforming school for some time, as you know, with threats of being taken over. And finally, they got a better grade this year. And so we had a huge celebration at Phyllis Wheatley for that institution and for the teachers there who are beaten down by all the complaints that they hear from people. And the one thing that I thought to do, because it meant so much to me that this school where I went to school and where my teachers actually lifted me up and pushed me out of Houston and sent me off to college, I thought about what I should do. And the first thing I thought is find a way to say to these teachers how valuable their work is. And so I offered a series of awards to the teachers at Wheatley who are performing in outstanding ways and who never get anyone to say thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to keep the topic on teachers. We have one question from the audience for both of you. They say, should all HBCUs offer African American history courses? Why or why not?
Can I take that?
You can take that. Any one of you can take that.
Please take that. Please take that. That's one of my pet peeves. Okay. So, honestly, when we were coming along as institutions, somehow we were sold a bill of goods. And that bill of goods is you people need to imitate everything that you see someplace else. Don't worry about that stuff that's about you, okay? Because that's not going to ever get you anywhere. So for heaven's sakes, don't have African American studies. Don't do poetry and the arts. Don't do that stuff because you need to be doing something concrete, right? And that's going to advance you people. That's the bill of goods we were sold. And so a phenomenal thing happened. When American institutions started being integrated, a flood of institutions developed African American studies departments. And so you have this interesting phenomenon where you can go to Tokyo, you can go to Germany, you can go many places around the world and find African American studies departments. Some of the best scholars of African American studies actually are German or Japanese and so on. But guess what? Try finding it in HBCUs. And so we have not developed appropriately the expertise that we should have in the field that is most particular to our circumstances, and that is the history and culture of African Americans in this country. And it is a great shame in our history that we did not have the common sense a century ago to understand that was our duty first. It's not Princeton's first. It's not Harvard's first. And I've been traveling around this country for decades helping other institutions start African American Studies programs. I helped Harvard structure its program and recruit Henry Louis Gates there. I helped Princeton start its program. It's ridiculous. So the first thing that I did when I came to Prairie View, you know what I said? What is the matter with you people? Okay? We have got to have African American studies, and so we do now. But we have got to claim the responsibility for doing this and not leave it to others to interpret us and who we are and where we come from and what we produce and so forth. Because if we leave it to others, guess what will happen? Policymakers will start talking about CRT and I don't know, don't teach the bluest eye. It's outlawed now in a lot of schools because other people say so, right? So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I concur. And we have to stop allowing others to become experts on us.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind there being experts. I just don't want to be the only people who aren't also experts on us.
So I think it's important for our voice
and our wisdom, our knowledge, and our experience to be reflected. And so I'm happy to say we have an outstanding program on our campus, but we need to lead. We need to look at that program and see, where should there be innovation? Where should there be transformation? Where should there be disruption as well, so that we can continue to lead in that area?
Let me tell you why this is important. I mean, you're going to be sorry you asked me about that. I remember as a student, and I was an odd duck. I was interested in literature and languages, and so I went to Harvard to get a PhD in Romance languages and literatures. And everybody told me, "Are you crazy? I mean, no black people that study Romance languages and literatures." And these were some of my faculty at Harvard telling me this. Okay, so it was not until one day a man named Mercer Cook walked into my classroom at Harvard. He was a faculty member at Howard, and his expertise was African literature. And until that moment, I did not understand the difference that the insights he brought from African literature would make for me because of my particular heritage. And I dare say, I think, that had he not walked into that classroom, I probably would have been a dropout at Harvard. And so I think for our students especially, to arm them with what it takes for them to know who they are and why they are who they are and what they're capable of doing, it is that important. And if I had my way, and I never do, I would make sure that every single student studied it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We're going to continue on. There was a time when HBCUs were the only choice for Black America. Then there was a time where some believed the ice was colder on the other side. There has been a resurgence in students attending HBCUs. Why are HBCUs important, and of what value is an HBCU today? And I will start with Dr. Young.
The absolute first time I wanted her to start with Dr. Simmons. I will say, I am going to respectfully not answer that question, and let me tell you why. I have spent 30 years in higher education. The majority of my time in higher education has not been spent at an HBCU. And that is since being at an HBCU, is the only time I have been asked, what is the value of an HBCU? We do not question the value of higher education. So why, thank you, that's a Prairie View alum who clapped in the back. We do not question that's a TSU alum, thank you. We do not question the value of higher education. And I am incensed by conversations when we question the relevancy of an HBCU or the value of an HBCU. Our value is that is equal to, if not greater than, higher education. Now, what I will add, because I never want to miss the opportunity to talk about the jewel of an experience one receives when attending an HBCU. And it is for all of those reasons that I'm proud to serve as a president at an HBCU. I believe in student choice. And I say to my colleagues, I want the student that wants Texas Southern University. And that is my value. My value is transforming the life of the student who chooses to be on my campus. I am not questioning the value of U of H or questioning the value of Texas A&M or questioning the value of UT, and I don't question the value of Texas Southern University.
Dr. Simmons, sum it up for us.
Yeah, precious little to add. One of the things that in this moment that the HBCUs are enjoying, we have an opportunity to try to educate people because they are paying attention now in a way that they haven't always paid attention. And so comments like the ones Alicia just made are very important to make in this time. And when I first came to Prairie View, it annoyed me greatly. I retired from my position at an Ivy League university. And the degree to which people were appalled that I had now decided to come to Prairie View was appalling to me. So I learned early on that that question would always be the first one. That people, well, can you compare Brown University and Prairie View? Can you talk about what the difference is between your experience at Smith or Princeton and Brown and Prairie View? And so I learned right off the bat to say before anything started, I want you all to know that I rule utterly out of question, out of order, that question. Mm-hmm. You may not pose it to me because I will not answer a question that asks anything like that. Mm-hmm. Because embedded in that question is, you know, tell us how awful it must be for you, right? And so on. So there are some things, you know, speaking truth in this moment is inordinately important when people are listening. Absolutely. And so when people push you to do things that do not make sense, you must call it out and say, that makes no sense. I see through the intent of what you're trying to do, and I will not participate in it. So I think that's what we're talking about.
Wonderful. So this is a personal question to both of you. What is your ultimate goal in life, and what do you hope to achieve? We gotta lighten up the mood. We talking about serious things now, guys.
Yeah. What is your ultimate?
You start. Dr. Simmons, would you like to start?
My ultimate goal in life is to get through this program.
What are you trying? You're giving us all the tea. You're giving us all the tea tonight.
I'm in a very privileged position where I am at the end of my career, and I have the great benefit of being able to look back over a very long career. And so, you know, my goal is to give whatever I can of benefit to others that I've learned over the years, because what I'm told repeatedly is that I have had an unusual journey, and that the experience I've had is unique enough that I have to be available to others to help others build on what they're able to do. So my goal is to simply to do that where people want it, and where I'm not, where I think I could actually make a contribution. So I went to Prairie View, reluctant at first to think that I could do anything of sufficient merit there, you know, and so I got there. I saw how wonderful the students were. I saw the wonderful work that was doing, and I asked myself, can I add any value at all? And I always want to add value if I can. So that's my goal, is to do that as long as I can. And after that, I want to get
some Lubaham.
My goal, like most people, I think know that my goal is to get a now I'm trying to think of the name of it. What is my car, Chief? A Dodge Hellcat. Yes.
I love it. I don't know what it is.
Dr. Young.
Well, let me say that my ultimate goal is to grow up and be Dr. Ruth Simmons.
That's a good goal.
And as I'm working towards it, I will pursue some other goals. And I'm going to say this one, and it will sound extremely personal, but I'm comfortable sharing it. Many years ago, I was asked to develop what I thought was my mission in life. And so I developed a phrase that said to fully utilize all of my gifts and talents so that individuals could see the goodness of God through me. And that's one of the reasons I responded to the call to become president at Texas Southern University. My Tigers know that I say a presidency for me is not a career move, it's a calling. And I believe I've been called to serve. So my ultimate goal is to continue to serve, to continue to answer the call, continue to always push to be the absolute very best that I can be so that individuals can see and believe the goodness of God through me.
I see. You gotta get a round of applause for that.
And I'm also going to ride in the car that she gets.
The Dodge Hellcat.
I'm not sure what the goal is there.
To drive fast.
To drive fast.
I have a couple of specific questions to ask you guys before we round up. I know you touched on it a little bit about your next steps and your goals. This one specifically talks about why you're stepping down from presidency. And of course, you've already mentioned, what's next for you. Not the Dodge, but there's something else that's next for you. Let us know.
Well, I'm stepping down because I'm old.
That's it? That's a
good reason.
That's the reason. I didn't expect to be working at this point in my life. And, I find myself surprised that I am. My children want me to be more available to spend money on them. And so on. I give a lot of my money to Prairie View. And they look at that and they say, that's very nice, Mom, but I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, are you spending our inheritance? So they're very fearful about what I'm going to do. And I do annoy them by saying things like, don't you think it would be a good idea if I willed my house to Prairie View? And don't you think that we ought to do this for Prairie View? And so they're just, they don't know what to make of that. But I think that I want Prairie View to be well led. And so many of our colleges believe in a monarchical presidency. Somebody who comes and stays for 30 years, okay? This has held our institutions down. The other model that holds our institutions down is jumping about from leadership to leadership without any kind of planning. So the one thing I promised myself when I came to Prairie View is that when I left, I would leave in an orderly way. And that means I would announce, I would give time for a reasoned process to find an outstanding leader, and I would not budge until that person was in place. And so what I'm hoping, and I preach this for every HBCU board of trustees, and I lecture them all the time. They're really so tired of me. But But this is what I lecture to them because it has afflicted us and hurt us greatly, the way that we have failed to pay attention to succession. Yes. And so that's my commitment is, and part of the reason I'm leaving now is because I think it is a good time for us to have a smooth transition. So Prairie View is going to have an outstanding next president. Yes. And I'm going to be hanging around, looking over their shoulder. No, and I'm going to be available to assist in whatever way that I can. And this is, people wonder, well, why is that university so outstanding, and why is that one? Well, you know why they are? Their leadership plan over a long period of time has been very structured, and they plan for it for years. And then the president, when they go out, they don't leave. They are available and they keep working. And they're sent off to do things to help parts of the university. So we don't have to leave mad. We don't have to leave because something other shiny thing attracts us. We can plan for our university to be led in an appropriate way, and that's what we're trying to do at Prairie View.
Thank you. Dr. Young, this specific question asks, over 90% of state-supported colleges in Texas are in a system, from UT to Texas A&M to Texas Tech to Texas State. Considering the fact that TSU is one of the only few colleges not in the system, what is the future of TSU?
Well, let me say the future of TSU is bright. Bright. I most recently joined TSU after being provost and senior vice president at Morgan State University in Baltimore. Morgan State University is governed by its own board. It's not part of a system. And it has, just as TSU does, the flexibility, the agility, the opportunity to be responsive to those issues that the university defines as most important. We get an opportunity to focus on what we define as our agenda. That's one of the reasons we were able to so quickly develop a new college of transdisciplinary studies that was unique, different, the first in the state, because we have the type of operational structure that allows us to respond to the needs of the community that we care most about. So I say to you, there is no need for us to have conversations about TSU joining a system. We need to have conversations about TSU having the advocacy and the support to continue to be responsive to the needs of the students we serve and to be responsive to the needs in the state of Texas. So yes, the future's bright.
You can have our place in the system if you want.
Dr. Simmons.
Well, let's ask the Tigers. Tigers, what do you say? Yes or no? No! Dr. Simmons, with all due respect, we decline.
Thank you very, very much. We're going to continue on with the program with rapid fire questions. Ooh. All right. So in the rapid fire questions, yeah, I know. Hey, don't worry, we got a couple. So I'm going to give you guys multiple choice questions, and you're going to answer with one. You're going to pick one of the answers, and you're going to do it as quick as possible. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. The first one is the color purple or roots?
Color purple.
It's rapid. It's rapid.
She says both.
Say both.
I'm a literature person, remember? Oh. Okay. Neither.
Neither. All right. Next one is mac and cheese or potato salad?
Neither.
Doc?
Potato salad.
Oh, potato salad. All right, this last one here is black don't crack and brown don't frown. Can you share with the audience one beauty secret that you guys have? Just one.
Well, I have so many beauty secrets, and I'm certain you can observe many of them. That was a joke.
Okay, I'm going to have to, I hate to do this on the last question, but I'm going to have to, I hate to do this on the last question, but I'm going to have to do it, and that is, I don't think other presidents would have to answer a question like that. And so I'm going to decline to answer that one too.
Got you. All right, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, can you give a round of applause to these wonderful, amazing...
Hey, it's going on forever.
I know. They are, yes, please stand up. Give a round of applause to them. We are, yes, yes.
Fantastic.
To close out our program tonight, we would like to give our university presidents just a final 1-minute remark to our wonderful audience. What would you like to say, Dr. Young?
Well, I just want to say thank you to Amegy Bank as well. Thank you to the Defender. And thank you for the support. And it matters to me personally, but it also matters to our communities. So let's continue to be strong advocates for ourselves. Let's not wait for anyone else to advocate for us. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Madam President. To close out our program, I invite our very own Defender Network Managing Editor, Rashonda Tate, who wears a number of hats. She's an author of over 50 books. She's an anchor for KTSU News at Texas Southern University and is on the board of the Toni Morrison Writing Program at Prairie View A&M University. You get the best of both worlds.
Thank you.
Please, Rashonda Tate, close us out.
Thank you so much. We know you are ready to go, so we appreciate you for taking the time. Please give our host, Laura O, a round of applause. Before you go, I've got a few things to do. I want to, encourage you to visit our website and sign up for more of our Defender newsletters. Use the QR code on the index cards, and you can also make a donation there to support our free Defender events. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Amegy Bank, for supporting this event. Special shout outs to Jermaine Martin at Amegy Bank, Kevin Hoffman and Candace Johnson's team at PV, and Melinda Spalding and Tracy Clemens' team at TSU. Now, reminder, the full program will be on the Defender Network website on Saturday morning, so check it out and share. On your way out, please pick up the latest paper. We have a centerfold on all the great things going on at TSU and Prairie View, written by our own Laura O.
Great.
So we're very proud. Before we go, we have to give away the tickets. They're holding up their tickets so whoever is holding the lucky number of 30, since the Defender was founded in 1930, is our winner for the Labor Day Classic tickets. Who has number 30? Sing
Oh, wow.
Wonderful. You won the Labor Day Classic tickets. Thank you all for coming. We hope
Wow.
you enjoyed. Thank you to our
Thank you.
presidents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one more.